Okay, sit yourself onto your left, come into a good cross-legged position, and then have a little, I haven't put my microphone on, have a little wriggle about, make sure that you're feeling evenly positioned. So sit yourself on your left and just get comfortable, just feel that you are sitting with levelness. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the heart area and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Spend a few moments listening to the sound of the breath. Just focusing on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Focus on allowing the chest to expand with the in-breath and to relax with the out-breath. So the chest expands and broadens with the in-breath, and the chest relaxes with the out-breath. Bring your hands into Namaste. Lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. Just continuing to allow the breath to expand and contract the chest. And with an out breath, allow your eyes to gently close. Focus on the sound of the in-breath and the sound of the out-breath. Observing the difference. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Lift the chest up to meet the chin. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area and release the backs of your hands down towards your knees. Palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom, of physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our practice as an intention. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs and your shoulders. Softening the jaw and the tongue and the throat. And then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. Again, drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. And then gently come back to the centre. Come off your lift and sit back on your heels for Adho Mukha Virasana. Just have the big toes together, the knees apart, and allow the body to just sink into the ground for a moment. Just let gravity do its thing and pull you down towards the floor, just so that you feel the shins in good contact with the floor. Now, if you're on a soft floor, if you're on a carpeted floor, then your shins will make contact with the floor pretty well. If you're on a hard floor, maybe not so easily. So, consciously press the shin bone into the shin skin, and then feel how the thighs instantly respond. They become activated. And then from there, press the shins into the floor, activate the thighs, and then activate the spine. Elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. Just feel the difference. Let go, sink, and then just feel the kind of sluggishness in the head, and then reactivate the shins, feeling that the thighs reactivate, and then elevate the heart area upwards, drawing the shoulders down, pushing the shins into the floor, activating the thighs, lifting up into the chest, and then observe how your thoughts become a little more sharp. Come forwards, hinging at the hips, keep the hands on the thighs at the moment, hinging at the hips. Now at the stage where you start to topple forwards, release the hands and then walk your hands forwards, but push the hands into the floor away from your knees so that you stay in contact with your heels. Keep the heart area lifted, keep the hands pushing into the floor, sliding them along the mat, keeping the seat bones down on the heels, and then finally bring the forehead down. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Feel that you can continue to stretch the hands away along the mat, but keep the seat bones down at the same time. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. to your knees, turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. Just feel how your body responds to the pose. Observe how your body resists or freely enters the pose. Observe not just the resistance, but also the freedom. Keep the palms pressing into the floor, tip the seat bones up towards the ceiling, press the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees, activate the fronts of the thighs, pushing them through to the backs of the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards to bring space in the seat bones to lift a little higher. Step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. Have a couple of blocks for your hands, but you're only going to use those if you've got a back problem. Forward bending is problematic for you. So if that's the case for you, then you're just going to come forwards, keeping the head lifted, have your fingertips on the blocks. Otherwise, we're going to come forwards and hang into full uttanasana. We're going to come into that with hands on the hips. So bring your hands onto your hips. Try and creep the thumbs towards each other behind you so that your elbows are drawing towards each other behind you. Feel that your heels are on the edge of the mat. Feel that the little toes are on the edge of the mat. Feel that the big toes are closer together than your heels. So feel that those are in the right place. Have a quick look. Make sure that they are, because the leg preparation is really important to give you space in your hips. Tighten your kneecaps. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Lift the head, come forwards, hinging at the hips. If you're doing half uttanasana, come halfway and release your hands down onto the blocks. Otherwise, keep coming forwards, keep extending the spine away from the hips. And then finally release your arms, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, and then wrap the fingers around the outsides of the elbows and hang down. So whichever pose you're doing, whether it's full or half uttanasana, you have to activate your legs. So activate your legs evenly. Go inside the pose and observe your activity. Observe how you are lifting the legs. Observe how you're pressing the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees. Observe where your weight is in your heels. Is your weight in your heels, or is it in the toes? Just hit your legs forwards, bring your weight into your toes. We want the weight in the heels, so hit the shins back. One of the benefits of bringing the weight into the toes, so hit the legs forwards again, bring the weight into the toes, is that it gives you a bit more space to lift the seat bones. So lift the seat bones a bit higher and then hit the legs back so that your weight goes into your heels. Just be conscious of where you're distributing your weight. Be conscious of how you're activating your legs. Are you activating the left leg evenly with the right leg? Is there balance of action? Release your hands down to the floor. Everyone come into half uttanasana for a moment. And then bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into a standing position. Just move your blocks out of the way. Just come into Tadasana. Tighten your kneecaps. And again, hit your shins back so that your weight goes into your heels. Observe how that affects your balance. Let your legs hip forward so that your weight comes into your toes. And observe how that affects your balance. If you bring your weight into your toes so that the heels become really light, almost lifting off the floor, then maybe your balance becomes a little more precarious. If you hit your legs back, if you hit the shins back and your weight comes into your heels, maybe you observe that the balance becomes a little more secure. Turn the fronts of the legs inwards, tighten the kneecaps, tuck the tailbone in, lift consciously into the heart area. Lengthen your shoulders away from your ears. Lengthening your shoulders into the fingertips, but lifting the heart area at the precise same time, so that you really create an arrow with the body pointing to the ceiling, pointing to the sky. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet nice and wide for trikonasana. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, and then come down and find the shin, look up. So I didn't give much detail there, but do the pose that you know. If you're new to the pose, just feel your way into the pose, observe your resistance. A couple of priorities. The first is to make sure that the kneecaps are tightened. So whether you're new or you've been doing this a long time, observe the knees, tighten the kneecaps. Observe how that affects the other resistances. So perhaps you've got, when you tighten your kneecaps, it makes the hamstrings really respond. Maybe with that front leg. So activate the hamstrings of the left leg really firmly. Feel how that divides the tension from the front leg. Turn the front leg from the big toe side to the little toe side. Squeeze in the front leg buttock bone forwards. Reach up with the top hand, come back to the centre. Swap the feet around, turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Tightening the kneecaps, especially of this front leg, but also of this back leg. Come over, find the shin. Keep the kneecaps tightened. Keep the fronts of the thighs turning outwards, especially the left leg, but also in the right leg. Push your weight of that back leg into the heel. Consciously push your heel into the floor. And again, your balance will improve. Push the heel of the left foot into the floor. And you will feel more grounded. You can lift out of the feet into the legs, into the hips, into the spine, into the heart area, into the arms, into the neck, into the head. And then come back to the centre. Bring the feet parallel and then step or jump the feet back together. Come back into Tadasana. So breathe in Through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. So bring your feet hip width apart. We're going to do padangusthasana. So padangusthasana is where we come forwards, get hold of the big toes, and then we have a little tug of war with the big toes. If you know that you can't reach your big toes, then get a belt and hook the big toes into the belt. So it's the big toes, not, sometimes you see people do this with the belt, put it around the whole of the foot, but that's not really the pose. It should be around the big toe, because that's what you get hold of, and that's what you have the tug of war with. So have the belt around the big toes if you feel that you might not be able to reach. Turn your toes inwards, stamp the big toes into the floor, and then stretch the little toes out to the side. Again, like we were doing in uttanasana, turn the big toes in so that the outside edge of your feet are in line with the edge of the mat. That's the same preparation that helps you to turn the fronts of the legs inwards. That gives you space in your hips. So you can come up into the pose with the arms lifted, or you can come into the pose with the hands on the hips. This hands on the hips way, it's a bit kinder to the back. I think it's it can strain your back a little with your arms over your head. So we're going to do it this way this morning. So press the big toes firmly into the floor, stretch into the little toes, tighten the knees. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards so that you can feel the backs of the thighs broaden outwards. It becomes really hard to clench the buttocks. Lift the heart area, wing the elbows together, hinge at the hips, keeping the head lifted. Hinging at the hips, extending forwards. And then reach down and get hold of the big toe with the index finger and the middle finger underneath the big toe, the thumb wrapped around the outside of the big toe. Hit your shins back. So again, your weight goes into your heels. That gives you that stability. But it also really helps you to activate the legs. Tighten the kneecaps. Press the fronts of the knees really consciously to the backs of the knees. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. And then stamp the big toes down into the floor, but try and rip them out of the floor like you're trying to pull a nail out of the floor. And then pick up the seat bones. Project the chin and the chest forwards. And if you can go further without bending your knees, you can bend your elbows out to the sides. Keep the spine long as you draw the upper body in towards the legs. But keeping the head lifted, not moving forwards with your head. That's the ego doing the pose. Do the pose from the heart area. Draw the body in towards the sides of the room, or the elbows out to the sides of the room. Drawing your body in. But just being conscious of your own body's resistance. Feel where your weight is in your feet. Does it come forwards towards the toes, or can you hit the shins back? Can you tighten the knees? Bring the weight into the heels. You can let go of the head if you're close to the legs. And then extend the chest and chin forwards, and then release the hands, come into half uttanasana. Keep the legs activated. And then bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. Bring the head upwards. Just observe your energy. Turn the palms all the way out. Lift up into the chest. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Soften. And then just come down onto your knees. Just come down onto your knees, sit back on your heels, lift up into the chest. And then come forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up into a seated position, and then stay on your heels, lift the heart area consciously to the ceiling, gathering the shoulder blades together really consciously. Keeping the heart area lifted, keeping the shoulders down. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay, and then I want you to get a little lift. So I want you to be quite high on the lift. So have some blocks, and then we're going to do malasana. So malasana requires you to sit. You don't have to sit high, but the pose just becomes a little more accessible if you are. So I'll show you. So you're going to stretch the legs out, and then you bring the legs in, and then we come forward like that. So that requires some kind of confidence in your lift. It requires that you keep your heels down as well. So that's so the big problem with keeping the heels down is that not everyone can do that. The heels want to lift because of like short Achilles heel tendons. So if you know that you struggle to keep your heels down, then you can put a block on top of the. You can put a blanket over the lift, and then you can bring your heels bring the heels onto the blanket, and then it just gives you a little bit of extra lift. So just have a little kind of experiment. Just see if your heels need the blanket on the floor, or you can do it just from the lift. So have what you need, and then just sit on the blocks and roll over, move the buttock flesh out the way, and then come into dandasana, just lifting up into the heart area, pushing the heels away, lifting up into the chest. So lengthen from the hip and into the heel. Lengthen from the hips up into the armpits. Raise your arms up, extend your arms up to the ceiling. So we're just working in dandasana to start off with, but trying to keep the legs active or keeping the chest extending up towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulders away from your ears. Keep the heart area lifting. Keep the palms spread. Lift the little fingers to the ceiling. Stretch the thumbs towards the back of the room. Activate the kneecaps. Press in the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Press in the fronts of the thighs to the backs of the thighs. Turn in the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. So for just a pose that is a seated pose, sitting on the lift certainly helps, but there's quite a lot more to it than just sitting on the floor, isn't there? There's the internal activation. Release your arms, observe how perhaps the body feels a little warmer on the inside. Bend the knees and bring the feet together as close to the seat bones as you can. Now if you struggle to lift, you can get a couple of blocks at the sides and you can help, and that can kind of help you push you upwards. Hold on to the fronts of the knees. Have the knees wide enough apart so that you're going to get your chest through. So you don't want your knees too close together at this stage. Pull against the knees and then elevate the abdomen up to the diaphragm up to the heart area. And then just propel yourself forward. So raise your arms and then stretch your arms forwards. See if you can lift. Keep the heels down. Lift up into the heart area. Keep the chest lifted. Almost like you want to stand up, but you're not. Hit the legs back. Hit the seat bones back. Keep the heels down. Keep the shoulders away from your ears. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then gently rest yourself down and come into cross legs, holding onto your knees. Just coming into cross legs, holding onto your knees. Just feel the warmth around the upper body. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. So you can either stay in cross legs and just work to elevate the heart area upwards, or do that pose again. So Kat, was that okay for you? Yeah. So just take it nice and easy, yeah. Okay, bring the legs out in front, extending the legs away. Have the big toes together, have the heels apart, tighten the kneecaps, press the shins into the floor like someone's standing on your shins. Press the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees like someone's standing on your thighs, and turn your thighs inwards, lift up into the chest, and then extend your arms upwards. Just this dandasana stage. Now if you don't want to do malasana again, you can just stay in dandasana. Working to roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, lift the abdomen to the heart area, extending into the legs, activating the legs really firmly. If you want to go into malasana, release your arms down and then pull the feet into the body. Hold onto your knees. Use this first stage to just lift up into the chest. And then raise your arms like you were doing in dandasana, and then keep the back straight as much as you can as you come forwards, just propelling yourself forwards. Lengthen the abdomen forwards, keep the chest lifted. Hit the seat bones down towards the floor, but keep them hovering so that the heels come down. Lengthen forwards, and this time we're going to come down lower. We're trying to get the armpits in line with the inner knees. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, keeping the shoulders away from your ears. I always hunch my shoulders, so you got to try and keep your shoulders away from your ears. Easier said than done, I always find. Okay, and then gently release back down. Cross your legs, but cross them the unnatural way. So have the other leg in front of the other. Hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest. Just observe the warmth of the body. Observe the quietness of the brain. Elevate the heart area upwards, take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, digging the backhand into the floor so that you stay on the front edge of the seat bones, on the floor or on the blocks that you're sitting on if you can't reach. Turn the abdomen, but lift the abdomen to give you space. Come back to the centre. Lift up into the heart area and then turn to the left. And then come back to the centre. We're going to come into supta baddha konasana. So have a bolster for underneath your back. So just get your bolster and then have a folded blanket for your head. And then just come down, sit down at the end of the bolster. But don't jam yourself right up against the bolster. My bolster kind of is quite an old one, so it kind of sinks into a ramp at the back, so I can sit quite close. If you've got a newer bolster that's really firm, you should definitely sit a couple of, maybe an inch away from the bolster. So otherwise you don't want to jam your lumbar into the bolster particularly. Just hold on to the big toes for a moment. Hold on to the big toes and lift up into the chest. Elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay, and then reach the hands behind you, bring the hands onto the floor, and then lift the heart area upwards, lengthening the abdomen. Guide yourself down onto the bolster. Have the folded blanket for underneath your head, just to stop you from rolling your head back. And then bring your hands out to the sides. If there's stiffness in your hips and there's resistance in your hips, then you can put some blocks on the outsides of the thighs. Otherwise, just allow the body to adopt the shape of the bolster. Allow gravity to draw the physical body down into the bolster. So the bolster helps you to open the chest. You might not have a bolster, but cushions or rolled up blankets are really good for this as well. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So the lift underneath your back helps you to broaden the chest. Helps you to broaden the abdomen. The abdomen and the diaphragm region just broadening out in the shape of the bolster, broadening the collarbone. Just listen to the sound of the inhalation and the exhalation. And then we're going to do a few rounds of Brahmari pranayama. Now, we usually do Brahmari pranayama sitting up, but laying down is a different experience altogether. You get a much better feedback from the floor than you do from the air around you, and so you really feel the resonance, especially in the chest, and that's what we want. So Brahmari, if you remember, is just normal inhalations and then long, low, as in low-pitched exhalation, hummed exhalations until the lungs are empty. Normal inhalations, low hummed exhalations until the lungs are empty. So we'll do 5 Brahmaris. So just take normal inhalations and exhalations at the moment. So I want you to be conscious of the resonance in the chest and around the throat and around the face as you hum those low notes. So you just have to hum a low note for you because they're more resonant. Okay, take a normal out breath, a normal in breath, and then we will begin. Allow the breath to settle. Just holding on to that resonant sensation in the chest. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Push your elbows into the floor, lift the chest. Push your hands into the floor, lift the chest, and then come back up into supta, padangusthasana. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then bring your knees in towards each other and then come into cross legs, just normal cross legs down along the floor. Hold onto your knees and lift up into the chest. Just go back to that sensation of resonance, almost maintaining that resonance in the chest and in the throat and around the sinuses. And then gently turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders, pushing your back hand into the floor or the bolster behind you. and then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, lift up into the heart area, and then maintain that position on the seat bones as you turn to the left. As you turn, just maintain that levelness of the seat bones. Just try not to roll onto one seat bone in favour of the other. Try and keep the torso directly between the two hips. And then gently come back to the centre. So rather than traditional shavasana, we're going to come into the restorative surfboard pose. So this is really really nice for really quietening, but also really nice for releasing tension from the shoulders and the neck. So you have a block and a folded blanket over the block, and then have the bolster. You need to get your forehead on the bolster, and you need your chin free of the end of the bolster. So I'm just going to cover up my legs while I do this, because otherwise they'll get a bit chilly, so have something to cover yourself up with if you need it. So you're just going to come down along your front, and your chin needs to be free of the bolster. So it depends on the body, on the length of your body, but it's kind of the pelvis region kind of on the end of the bolster. But again, it depends on the length of your body. The priority is to have your chin free of the end of the bolster. Have your forehead on the bolster, on the block, and then bend your elbows. Let your hands relax into the floor. Just let your hands relax into the floor. And then just allow the body to drape over the bolster. So it's really the kind of antithesis of supta baddha konasana. The opposite shape of the chest, but this time it broadens the back. So while we're here, there's a back breathing technique that we can incorporate. So you inhale into the back of the chest. So the first breath you inhale into the area between the shoulder blades and all the way out into the armpits. And then a normal exhalation. The second breath is into the middle of the back and out into the side ribs. And then a normal exhalation. And then the third breath is down into the base of the spine and out into the hips. And then a normal inhalation. And then you just cycle around those 3 breaths. Upper, middle, then lower. Just cycling around those 3 breaths. letting the body just completely relax into the bolster. And then complete the cycle of breath that you were working on. And bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up onto your knees. Just sit back on your heels for a moment. Just observe how your energy has changed. And then sit yourself onto your bolster. Just come into a good cross-leg position. With the hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the restorative poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards, connecting the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb, the gesture of wisdom, physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our day. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you have really lifted your energy, giving yourself good, positive energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.